Hey there, today's the day I'm going to give you a tour of my new house. Been here a couple months. I've been getting so many requests for my garden tour, and I've been so busy inside the house, outside the house, unpacking, organizing. This was my second move in a year. As you know, I moved to Southern California last year, and we rented a house where I had the 10 raised beds out in the absolute desert. Make sure you see that video if you haven't seen it. It's kind of fun to see what it's like to grow in the desert. Now we're kind of more in town-ish, still in the same area, still going to be super hot, like 120 degrees this summer, but we bought a house. So this is my forever house, like anything's ever forever, but hopefully our forever house. And I'm really excited to show it to you. And I was waiting for the day where everything looked perfect and all the fruit was picked up and the leaves and the branches were picked up and everything looked really pretty for the tour. Well, guess what? That ain't real life. I just had a big storm. I got tons of fruit down. Some of it's molding because we found out that's what it does when you leave it on the ground, and branches down. And my garden area where I'm going to be growing vegetables is pretty much how the movers left it when they dumped everything back in the garden. So I decided if I don't do it now, I'm going to be 100 years old by the time you see my garden tour. So here's what I'm going to show you. It's going to be a longer video. I was going to do it in 2 or 3 videos, but I think I'm just going to get it all done in one because there's a lot to show you. I'm going to show you the front where all our fruit orchard is. I've got about 30, I think I'm up to 35 trees, fruit trees. I put a couple in myself already. So I'm going to show you the orchard in the front. Then I'm going to show you the succulent garden kind of in the front area, and a fenced area where my vegetable garden is going to be. It is completely naked. I haven't even touched it yet. And they didn't grow any vegetables here, so that's going to be new. And then I'll show you my potting area where I, do all my winter sowing. And that's another thing. I'm right in the middle of my winter sowing with my milk jugs. And I just got cardboard everywhere for my lasagna beds. I got milk jugs everywhere. You're going to see it all. And then we're going to end with going up by the pool. And I'm going to show you there's a rock garden up there and more fruit trees and more succulents, and then we'll end up there. So that's my tour. Sit tight. I'm going to show you everything, and I hope you enjoy it. So it's one of those rare, dark, rainy, overcast days that are glorious to me. It reminds me of winter. Anyway, this is our garage. It's kind of a unique house in that the house is set back in the back. This is our orchard over here, all the way to there. And we keep the cars in there, and then that third bay is my gardening area where I keep all my gardening stuff. We're at a cul-de-sac, so it's nice and private and quiet down at this end. And then we have this piece of property over here, and you can see my wood chip stack there, my free wood chips from Chip Drop. And our one and only eucalyptus. Look how huge it is. Absolutely glorious. Shades over the whole house at one time of the day. So it's real nice, quiet, private little area down in here. And now we're going to dig in, show you the orchard first, and we'll go from there. So when we bought the house, they gave us a quick tour. They were very nice to come out and go through all the trees, and they were kind of just going by memory, and they kind of disagreed sometimes on what's what. So I'm just going to give you, a basic rundown of what we have. I won't go into a lot of detail with them, but you'll get an idea. This is a Meyer Lemon. We have 2 of these, and what's interesting is that the fruit really likes to grow around the bottom. And I got really overexcited and pruned this one. It was the first one I pruned, and then I realized after tons of videos on pruning citrus trees, they don't like to be pruned very much, but they hadn't been pruned in years, so I just took off a lot of dead wood. So these are just delicious. They're, I think, a Chinese fruit, a cross between a lemon and an orange, and they're already starting to flower out and put new fruit in. So that one I think is goes all year round. This big one here is our only deciduous tree in the front. There's the dachshunds with their comments. That is a ginkgo biloba, and if you've heard of that herb, I only know of it for depression and anxiety, but I don't know whether you use the leaves, the roots, the stems, but anyway, it has these gorgeous leaves on it, and then they all went yellow and fell down. That one right there is our giant avocado tree. It's so overcast, it's hard to get a good view, but I think around 30 feet. I think I said it was taller before, but I didn't know how to judge feet. But it's huge. Everybody that sees it says it's the biggest avocado tree they've ever seen. All that, everything you see back there besides the ginkgo is all avocado. They get over 1,000 avocados a year, they told us, the sellers told us. And we had quite a few. This is I want to say my favorite tree in the whole place. And it's this teeny little dwarf blood orange tree. I'm doing a whole video on blood oranges. growing them by seed and seeing if I can, match the flavor of it. It'll take a couple years to do, but I'll have other videos on it. The juice is tremendous, deep purple red. And I keep wondering why it's not growing any bigger, because the rootstock at the bottom is huge. You know how all the citrus trees are put on a rootstock for a stronger variety. So why isn't it bigger? I think it's a dwarf. I think that's as big as it's going to get. So we're babying and saving the leaves, or saving the fruit. Most of the oranges we have are Washington Navel. And like we had storms all week. It's been incredible, wonderful. And this, I could get up in the morning and come to this like every couple days. I'll have all the oranges coming down. And I pick them up as often as I can. But we can't even possibly get to all of them. I've been giving them to every person that we've met. The male woman gets them every couple days, and we're, really enjoying having them. It's a nice orange. I guess this whole area at the foothills, like for many, many acres, was the original Washington Navel orange in the country, in the world, was from this area. So some of these are actually original trees. And this is a smaller one. I've got a pomelo. Oh no, this one's grapefruit. I've got white grapefruit, pink grapefruit, and red grapefruit. And you can see they're just dropping it. And everybody, the protocol is you pick them up. It's not cool to not pick them up. But I'm a composter, and I'm leaving them. I'm going to try and get them all in one area. Sometimes when they fall, they're just kind of light and empty. They've gone too long. So they're best when you pick them right off the tree. But look at how many I have in there of these. I'm not sure of the variety. This one's a Tangelo, and it doesn't get ripe. It's the only one that's not ripe yet. We're in early February 2019, and they say this one's just delicious. So we're just, every couple of weeks I'll pick one, and oh, it's still sour. But they said once it's the right time, it tastes delicious. This one was, I can't remember if that was lemon or lime. We found out. Oh no, this was another grapefruit. No, it's not. See, I'm still learning, because what we thought was a lemon tree turned out to be lime, because we have limes that turn yellow, all of them. This is definitely a lemon tree here. And look at the big lemons on that one. All different kinds of varieties of lemons and limes. This one's just one beast of a lemon tree. Now here's the lime. Look at that. I have raked 3 times and brought all these in, made lime ice cubes for limeade. And it just keeps falling every time we have a storm. So it's starting to thin out, but it's really fun to have all these lemons and limes. And they have a completely different taste. It's not like, oh, they're similar to these regular lemons. And they taste different than the Meyer lemons. I have pruned a little bit here, but not much at all. I want to have a first year of just seeing how everything goes. This one is our absolute favorite for eating. The other one's favorite for juicing, the blood orange. These are either Satsumas, tangerines, mandarins, or clementines, but we call them Satsumas. Absolutely delicious. Stand here and peel one every morning. The dogs get to have some, and they peel really easily. No seeds. We have another one that has seeds, but I'm going to do a whole video on this. And there was so much weight on it. The branches snapped off, if you can imagine, because they hadn't been pruned in years. That is how important pruning is. If they would have pruned them, all this would not have happened. But amazingly, because it was attached a little bit, the fruit still lived. There's a little bit of life going through there. So we've been picking off those branches, and I'm going to try and repair them, but I think they're goners. This is kumquat. Yeah, there's 2 kinds of kumquats. This is the tiny one, and we have a bigger one. And these, I'd never had one in my life, are the opposite of what you think. Like, all citrus is sour inside, and the skin is not edible. Well, these are sweet skins, and they're sour inside. So I've heard of people making jellies and candy. I'm going to juice them. But you actually eat the whole thing. You eat the whole skin. Kumquats. We have 2 apples. They're called Anna apples. And they're the only kind that, one of the main kind that live in this, type of climate. It goes by chill hours, how many chill hours you have in your city below 45 degrees at night. Okay, and our area is like 200 to 300 chill hours. Because I went to the store, and there's our other one back there. That's the other apple. I went to the nursery and I said, oh, I want to have Honeycrisp. And they go, where do you live? I said, Riverside. They go, no way, it'll never have fruit because it needs 800 chill hours. So, bummer, didn't get that. But I have these 2, and they say they get tons of apples on them. Then, where else? There's the avocado. You've seen this probably in our other little video of us peeling or pulling them off the tree. I got this great pink grapefruit here. This one I did prune. It was full of dead wood. Delicious. And then this one, is that the pomelo? That's the pomelo, I think, which is a really, yeah, it is. Really thick skin, citrusy, but it's not near as acidic as grapefruit, which I love grapefruits too, but that is a favorite for juice, is the pomelos. This is my third favorite. Blood orange, number one. For juice, this is my second favorite, which is Cara orange. It's a very deep pink, not like the other one's blood orange, blood red. And this one is really, it's just a good sweet taste. Loving that one. It might be a semi-dwarf because it's pretty small and it's got a good trunk, so it's been there a while. Now, I put in 3 trees. Persimmon, we have one, I'll show you in a second. We fell in love with persimmons. So I had to immediately go out and buy a second tree. And I got it bare root and trimmed off the top, which was really hard to do. It was about 2 feet taller. And I know I should have trimmed it lower because you want the branches to branch out from low so you can reach your fruit. But I'm still pleased that I trimmed it a little bit. This one was a cherry, and I don't know all the names. That one's a Fuyu Persimmon. This one is Royal Crimson Cherry. And I bravely cut this one off just above about thigh level. Then it was hard, but I believe then that this canopy is going to be nice and low and I'll be able to reach all the cherries. So that'll turn into a nice tree. And then here's my peach. I am totally gutless on this one. I've only trimmed off the top like 12 inches, but theoretically I should be trimming it way down low. But it's my first year and my first bare root, so I'm probably going to let it go. But beautifully, where are my buds? Look. Can you see the buds? No. Yeah, I got buds happening. I did not have those when I bought it, so I know that my planting took. Okay. I guess I am going through them all really quickly. This is a magnificent lemon. I cannot tell you how many lemons we've been pulling off of this. This is an Italian lemon. What was the name of it? Sofretto, something with an S. I can't remember. But it's huge. I mean, a couple of them have been bigger than grapefruits. Now these, like here's a good size one right here, just so you can see my hand. I mean, that's not as big as a grapefruit, but some of them have been. And we just keep eating them and drinking them and freezing them. And they're still here. Let's go down in the canopy. I love this avocado canopy. I bring the dogs to pee in here every day. And I mean, the canopy goes all the way to the ground. That's all avocado. And then the next canopy is the oranges. This is another Washington navel. This is probably our biggest one. I know it's hard to see out of context here. And now we're heading back to the house and I'll have a few more fruit trees. Oh, let me show you my roses before we go. I've never had roses. They're absolutely gorgeous. They're coming down the home stretch here, but they go into full bloom. I've just had hundreds of roses on each bush. And I come out and I smell them every day. This is one beautiful one we got. In the midst of winter, it's nice to just get a little bit of beauty amongst the other beauty. And they're just nice little hedges. I just love it. So here's our trip up to the house. And everybody has a green can. They fill it. It's just like the whole culture is agriculture. Everything is about trees. Everyone you meet has fruit trees. It's quite different. This was all just maxed out with flowers for them to sell the house. And it was, they're all starting to die, a lot of annuals. And I'll tell you about the weeds in a second. Here's the front of that Italian lemon. And here's our big Meyer. Now imagine, we've been here 2 months and been just eating and drinking and drinking. It's still a just ton of lemons. There's another kumquat there. This is the bigger kumquat. And back here is Buddha's hand. Have you ever heard of that? Let me see if I can squeak in. Sorry about the fast movement. This is a very bizarre fruit. Buddha's hand. It's a citrus that's used just for the peel. There's no fruit in it, no juice in it. And people make candy out of it, and they make, they put slices of it in their alcoholic beverages. Let's see if I can, oh, there's another one that's just coming in right there. There's another one back there. Isn't it beautiful? And it's already flowering. And the flower smells so good on all the citrus. Okay. I think there was one more. Oh, another tangerine in there. But that's my fruit orchard. But there's more fruit in the back. But that's just the start there. And well, let me give you back to the front yard view. This is hard to do a tour, trying to cover it and make it interesting. And I'm sorry, I hope I'm not walking too fast. This is the front of the house, right here. It's a ranch. And we have one little section of grass for dog tinkles. And they said there's 4 different kinds of grasses. That's why some of them are brown. They go dormant in the summer, or in the winter rather. Oh, I didn't show you the persimmon tree. It's that one right there. And it was just filled with these big apple-sized things that were bright orange. And it's already starting to get buds there. Sneak preview, that's my garden behind this fence we'll get to. So the beds are just all nice. They have, you know, lots of flowers and ground cover, sculptured thingamabobs, none of which I know what they are. But every now and then I'll go to a nursery and I'll go, oh, I have that in my garden. And so that's how I learn the names of stuff. Because you can't just go through a gardening book and like figure out what everything is. This is just where I sit out and hang out in the morning and look at the view. Oh, and I wanted to show you my palm tree. This is our one palm tree. Isn't she a beauty? And it's already grown like 4 or 5 inches since we've been here. So there's just all kinds of, like all the annuals will be pulled out. Got a bird of paradise going in. And a lot of my succulents that I grew from cuttings last year at the other house. And there's just succulents everywhere you look. I'm really enjoying succulents a lot. I made all these from cuttings, putting in, they're thriving. And now we're going to head back to my growing area. Look at this succulent. I love this corner right here. It's just rich with gorgeous succulents. And then, of course, they drop seeds and make babies. And it just keeps, you know, propagating all over. Look at that. And then now you can see where I said the wood chips were on the when we were out front. That's my wood chip pile. And that is a pomegranate that was filled with pomegranates. Okay, and now I'm going to stop this and we're going to head back to my gardening area where I do all my potting. Okay, now we're getting a little bit to the messy part. No judgment. But it's just putting it all together after a move is a tremendous job. This is our side patio, and it goes all the way around the back of the house to another patio in my gardening area. This is where I brought all these plants from the last house. Most of them I've been eating from, you know, greens, herbs, and I'm letting them go to seed. And some of them I've already transplanted up in the garden. All my cardboard I'm saving for lasagna gardening. And this is not a junk heap here. These are winter sowing jugs and bags of moving packing paper that I'm using for compost. I've shredded up. I just watched my Netflix and pull out the shredder and I shred these big sheets of paper. It's not nutritious, but it's good browns for the composting. And all the beds up here are mostly succulents and citrus. But I'm over time going to turn it all into vegetables. This is going to be my salad bar. And I've already started. Here's my winter sewing area. This goes back into our kitchen. That goes to our dining room, which we don't use as a dining room. It's like a workout gym room. So I can just come out through the kitchen, cut my salad bar, go in through the kitchen, cut my salad, my greens and herbs. And these are my winter sewing jugs. I've got about 50 done, 55, something like that. I've already got my first sprouts showing. And then this is the one that goes all the way along the back of the house. So what I'm doing right here is cleaning out the beds, pulling out the annuals, refreshing the soil because they have used pesticides in this house everywhere. It is the culture of being in this area. I can't believe it. I would have thought, oh, Southern California, no one uses pesticides. Forget about it. Everybody, a lot of people use pesticides, which is pretty horrifying to me that how many pesticides are in this earth. So I'm digging a lot of it out everywhere I'm putting food, and I'm putting in this Happy Frog soil conditioner. Oh, I don't have to finish the bag. And then I'm digging deep, and then I'm leaving, and then adding my Happy Frog and some other amendments and that kind of thing. So that's my plan right now, is to just make this whole thing. I got my rosemary, my mint, a bunch of cilantro I'm letting go to seed. Here are my first winter sown seedlings. Why is that not focusing? Broccoli rabe and cabbage. I got those. And this is my compost. It's not that we're trying to be messy here, but I come right out the kitchen and dump it in here, and then I have a dolly, because it's way too heavy. I roll it down back into the garden and dump it. And these are more of my shredded paper, just all my soils and everything. So here's my first lettuce bed. This one was deeply dug out because I didn't want any pesticide soil. So I bought organic seedlings at the big box store. And then it goes right into succulents. So I haven't decided if I'm going to take all the succulents out and how far I'm going to make the food, because there's nice succulents there, you know, and I just don't like to mix succulents and food. It's like against my nature. So I haven't figured it all out at all. But let's walk down here. These are the windows to the dining room. Oh, and here's another Washington orange tree. And the oranges, we haven't even started picking out of this tree yet. It's up by the pool. And like a whole bunch of tomatoes grew under there. I have no idea why. Maybe a bird pooped. Maybe they planted it. This one is grapefruit, and it's getting yellowing. And it shouldn't be yellowing this time of year. So I think all the plants are starving, because I never fertilized before because I used all this, you know, good soil. So now I think I'm going to have to learn. I'm learning about fertilizing to do it all naturally. No synthetics, because, you know, I don't like that crap. To give it a really good fertilizing program. And I'll be fertilizing every month, especially since we're coming into spring and they're all budding. Now we're coming up. There's fruit trees everywhere. We're coming up to pomegranates. And look how small these are. Okay, one of them I've trimmed, one of them I haven't. This one's been pruned. This one is wild and crazy. It hasn't been pruned. Each one of those, I want to say, maybe gave 4 or 5, 6 pomegranates, and full-size ones. And then I found this little tomato baby here. It was only an inch tall when I found her. She's doing well. And then here's our back patio with a shower for the pool for when you come out. And let's head over there. And we're going to go up. We're going to end up going up the steps to the pool in a minute. But I want to show you my gardens next. So here we go. This is the back of what's going to be my vegetable garden. Another Washington orange. Have not even started picking from this. We found a service that comes and picks trees and gives the fruit to the needy and to the homeless and to the people, the kitchens that are cooking for people. So we're going to call them once we get to a point where we can't use anymore and they've got to be picked. Anyway, you recognize my grow tubs with my famous picnic table flattened out. And I've been diddling around with some things, but not serious. I've been so focused on other things. Just getting to know the community and the neighbors and friends and social and getting out and knowing the area and unpacking. But at least they're all set up and they're getting close to being ready. I got celery here, sweet potatoes that were grown at the wrong time because we just happened to have them sprouting in the kitchen. So I put them in. A bunch of my fruit trees. I got some Granny Smiths. A whole bunch of those are growing. And a couple other ones, some kale. These are from the other house. They just need transplanted. Some of my bucket peppers, they're just going just fine. And a sprinkler system. Oh my gosh, we have 2 complete sprinkler systems like this. I have no idea how to use them. Timers, drip irrigation. I mean, it's just so complex. If you've never done it before, I have a ton of stuff that I have to learn. But I'm enjoying every second of it. So here, let me give you a slow scan, is going to be my vegetable garden. This part over here is all elevated. I got fruit trees down there, which I'll show you. It's much smaller than I'm used to growing in, but I will grow a lot in this area. Now, this is just all the... They had dug up the whole patio to get the whole septic redone. So I don't know what I'm going to do with all this big stack of rocks here, but again, cardboard that I'm going to lay out, my growing tubs. And this is where I just told the movers to just dump everything back here. So they did. And that's why I have to get out here now that it's getting sunny. I got a fig there that's lost all its leaves. But I think I can do a lot here. And I want you guys to give me your advice. I mean, let me tell you the things I'm dealing with. Major gophers or voles or moles or rats. They have all of them here. Everywhere, digging up everywhere. They dug up that little fig tree over there to where if I just touched the tree, it almost fell over. And there was holes all around the roots. So I've refilled it all up about 2 months ago. And it is getting buds, so I think it's going to make it. That fruit tree, don't know what it was, but it's dead. It's got to go out. So I got these nice little shady beds. You know, what would you do with a shady bed? Goes all the way down to the wall. And then I can put in raised beds. You know, I got to go in ground, but then I got the animals eating it and I got the pesticides. Those are my 2 big issues for not wanting to go in ground. I could put hardware cloth down, But then the pesticides, before they were selling the house, there weren't wood chips, it was just weeds. So then they got all these wood chips brought in, and I know there is a ton of pesticides in there. So I'm really torn. If I get elevated beds, I like the vegetables to go into the earth, but then it's going to tap into the pesticides. So I might just do a lasagna garden, put a lot of compost on it, and most of them don't even root that deep. They won't even go into the ground. So that's where I'm leaning now, is doing the lasagna beds with layers and layers and layers to where they're elevated maybe a foot off the ground, and then to grow almost everything in that. So I got to cut this tree down. This one, there's these three over here. I think I have Asian pear, a regular pear, and I forget, apricot maybe. That one's dying. It's going to need to go. This one had one pear on it. So, you know, there's potential here, but I can do, you know, trellising up the wall. I got all my grow tables. I'm definitely going to put my grow tables all back up, put my grow tubs on them. I brought all my fencing from Ohio, all my posts, my whiskey barrels, my shelving, everything. Do you see a lot of work here? Because I sure do. It's like, you know, starting over. I took those raised beds for granted at the last house. But it's also like being an artist and having a blank canvas. So what do you see here? I mean, seriously, I want you to go in the comments, whether you're on the YouTube channel or in my group. And what do you see? Like, am I missing anything? You know, lasagna beds, raised beds, in ground. I thought about just doing Smart Pots, fabric, getting the Smart Pots fabric grow beds, the 5-foot diameter ones. That, you know, just put like 10 of those Smart Pots out, because then I've got the aeration of the fabric. I'm not going to have any of the pesticides, and then the animals will come up and bump their heads on the fabric and they won't get it. So that's still a possibility too. My first year, I might just go get 10 Smart Pots, the either 5 or 10 feet ones, and just do all raised beds. That actually is that's the fastest, because I don't have anything for the lasagna beds. You know, you have to have leaves and straw and hay and wood chips and compost, and I don't have much of that. So anyway, what would you do? What do you see here? You know, should I leave the fruit trees in? Should I take them out? What likes shade? So I'm thrilled that I have shade, because the other place I didn't have a molecule of shade. So that is my garden. And then we come right back. Is there anything else I want to show you? That's it for your sneak peek. Well, your big peek. Oh, I got a compost tumbler. And I haven't had someone to help me with it who has long arms. I've heard it's so big. The two tubs are so big that it's hard to reach in the outside and the inside to put the nut on the bolt, or the nut on the bolt. So anyway, I've got to get some help to get that put together. So that was just delivered. Very excited about that. And I started a compost pile back there, all my citrus seeds. It's breaking down, but, you know, who knows? I'm just going to keep pouring everything there until I get some good soil out of it. And then we get back to the front yard. And then the last thing is I'll show you up by the pool and the rock garden. See, here I am back here at the persimmon tree and the bougainvillea that desperately needs trimming. And this is our view from the front yard. I get up every morning and walk down this middle and pick my tangerines and tinkle the dogs and pick up whatever avocados the coyotes haven't gotten. You have to get up like at 5 a.m. to beat the coyotes. And that's our beautiful home. Okay, we've gone full circle. We're back at my planting area. Now we're going to head upstairs. I'm losing my light, so we got to get to the whole upper area. Now we have this gate here in case we have to have anything driven up, you know, more wood chips or service or anything. There's more sprinklers. But let me just give you a scan. This stack of stuff here is decking that they saved and let us have. And the pool's over there. So, interestingly, they've mixed the fruit trees and the succulents up here, which I don't actually care for. We've got some fruit trees up here, but they're not doing as well. I know they're younger. I've pruned a couple of these, and I've pulled all the drip irrigation out that's all buried, so I can find out where all the connections are and see if there's any leaks and make sure everybody's got water going to them. So I might pull these fruit trees out. These are different citrus. And move them or not. I haven't decided yet, but I just want all the fruit to be in the front of the house. It's a huge responsibility to get all this watered. I mean, I had no idea. They apparently had a sprinkler system that was state of the art, and then they disabled it. I think it was because it cost too much to use sprinklers, so then they went to drip. And that's what I'm learning about. And pardon my mess, I'm in the middle of weeding constantly. So here's another citrus. It's kind of like citrus succulent, all the way atop. And there's my salad bar down there. So, you know, I don't know what I'll end up doing. And then over here, they just started this rock garden, which apparently they were in process with, and then they just stopped when they knew they were selling the house. That's my understanding. And they also had a whole creek going down, pardon the fast, from up here. A neighbor just told us this week, the neighbor across the street who's been here 40 years, that they had an actual river creek running down here all the way across the sidewalk down into the orchard. And that's why all those rocks are in there. But then they cemented it all over and stopped the water to it. So anyway, they're really into rocks, which I love. Now here's the challenge I have. When we bought the house, there was not a weed on the property. Nothing. And they knew we were organic, and they said they were organic, but they use pesticides. And at least for back here they did. And that's, again, what everybody does. So we don't use pesticides. So every weed in this property is having a happy dance because it can grow now. And it is, you can't even believe, weeds everywhere. And you have to pull them up by the roots, and it's going to take me all summer to do. And I'm doing a lot this week because it's been raining. But this was a gorgeous rock garden. You can see over there, let me hold it up, rocks all the way in there, rocks. It's just beautiful. And they were going to do all gardens, like this is all cleared away to be a bed. And then all these beautiful rocks here. I don't think that's a fruit tree. I don't know what that one is. So anyway, I have no idea what I'm going to do with it all. But I absolutely love it. I mean, I just love being up here. My first pool ever in my life. It has lights in it. We just discovered the lights last week. I didn't know there were lights. So we'll be able to swim at night. And then you can see, this is back where the shower was down there. Washington navel orange, another Washington. That's the grapefruit. That's one of our bigger Washingtons. And this is a good place to see the eucalyptus from behind. And we got some agaves here. Look at all those beautiful rocks in there. I've got to pull every weed out of there. I will not spray pesticides, ever. I don't care if we keep the weeds the rest of our lives. I mean, look at these beautiful succulents buried in the weeds. Little by little, I'll get to them all. And I'm going to use a hoe, and I'm going to use vinegar and, some natural things. But I want to try and get them all out by the roots. There's our pool apparatus. It's a lot to learn, a lot to do, but it's so fun to figure it all out. I think that's about everything. We just come up here and sit by the tree and eat oranges and prune and make a mess, and I come back and fix it up the next day. So that's my tour. Go down in the comment section and let us know. Let me know what you think. What do you see for this house, this garden? I may end up, if my veggie garden overflows, I know it's getting shady and you're not getting a good view. If my veggie garden overflows and I've used every inch of it for vegetables, I absolutely could come up here and turn this into a full-blown vegetable garden. I just don't know if I want to have citrus all over like this, because they're dropping oranges and lemons and limes constantly, and this back of mine cannot take bending over 85,000 times a day to pick up citrus. It's just kind of high maintenance. So especially since I want to keep it all and compost it, it goes to bacteria almost immediately and gets moldy. So, I'm figuring this stuff out as we go, but I'm loving it. Southern California. There's where I'm spending a lot of my time, in my little growing area. Thanks so much for joining me. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think. And stay tuned, because I am going to be doing more videos. You can see now why I've been away. And I've got a lot going on, but we have got so many fun things to share with you as this whole story unfolds. So thumbs up would be appreciated if you liked the video. Love to hear your comments. And thank you again for joining me. Sending you much love from my new garden to yours. Take care. Bye.